Assalamualaikum, everybody. Okay, so today we are going to continue chapter 2. Okay, so just to remind you that this chapter 2 will be, this is very important because it's, as you can see here, okay, so your case study is related to your chapter 2. Right, so today it's quite important, very important topic for you to understand. And I think this is a very good topic as well. And as well as this is going to help you a lot with your chapter, with your case study. Okay, so you have another 2 weeks to submit your case study. So I hope that by next week you should be able to finish it already. Okay? And then if you still have problem with your if you have problem with your term paper, so please let me know. Okay. Sekejap ya. Right. So let's start with chapter 2, which is the topic is the 10 perspective and on organizational change. So we have learned last week about the history, the evolution of change, the evolution of management, why we need management, and then why suddenly we face a shift in management style, shift in organizational focus, and so on. So today, let's take a look at it more deeper into 10 perspective of changes. So 10 perspective of changes meaning that why, okay, so in this topic, we are going to figure out actually why changes happens and then from which perspective. And this is actually to help you to understand, right, for organization, for students, for manager. This is for you to understand from many angles. So changes from many angles. Sometimes as an employee, right? Maybe not because not from the employer point of view. From employee point of view, sometimes we feel it's difficult managing change because simply we don't understand why we need this. What's the purpose of the organization change and so on. Okay, so when we learn about the perspective, it should help you to understand. Okay, it should help you to understand from many angles, right? What kind of perspective that we look into. And then after that, it also can create a different modes of engagement because once we understand from the wish perspective, so we know what how to what kind of strategies that we should do, what kind of things that we should look at, what are the things that what are the impacts, what are the consequences. So it creates different sort of engagement. And then after that, so with this perspective as well, as we all know, organization is not the same. Not organization is the same. We have different types of organization, and organization itself are dynamic and complex. All right. So it's very ambiguous. Some things might work in this organization, some things might not work there. Or maybe in one organization as well, different situation, it requires different change. So by learning this perspective, you should be able to understand what kind of what kind of changes that suitable for a certain situation, and then again to look from many angles, to look from many perspectives, right? To understand more why change happened and why the most importantly is why change is needed. Okay, why change is needed, what kind of change is necessary, and so on. Okay, so so let's say for another thing when we talk about change, it's very difficult, if let's say one organization that has that has leader who always wants to stay in control, because when we talk about change, it's about, I'm not saying it's about instability, but it's about jump into uncertainty, right? When we make change, we don't know yet the results. Okay, it's a process. At the end of it, then only we will know that whether it's working, whether it's not working, whether it will give a positive impact or not. So, for organization that has a leader who is try to control everything, try to make sense of everything, and try to, make sure that everything just runs smoothly without any changes, without any improvements, and so on. Okay, so it's very difficult for this kind of organization. Therefore, leaders, all of you, okay, I believe that all of you, as a leaders as a leader in a company, you should be aware that changes need to happen, because we need to respond to certain things. This is what we are going to learn today, right? We are going to respond to a certain things, and then I understand that as a leader, we want everything to make it like very smooth, to take control, everything. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. You have to respond to different. For example, like the environment, market trends. If you are in marketing, you have to respond to the market trends. You have to respond to the customer preference, the shift in consumer behavior. So you got to know this, right? You got to know all this perspective so that you are more open to its change. Okay, and then I believe that this helps you as well to educate. Right now that you have received the information, so I hope that this can be apa orang panggil tu? You can start educate people as well about change. You can educate your employee, you can educate your even top management as well about welcoming changes, implement changes in company when needed. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at perspective in managing organization change. I'm not going to, my elaboration, these slides is okay, but I have more elaboration. So I hope that you have your special notes or anything, so you can write down whatever that I'm saying. And it is more detailed than these slides, because this is important for two reasons. The first one is for your case study, and the second one is at the end of this, not at the end of this class. Before we end this class, I'm going to ask you to discuss about this topic. So I hope that you pay a little bit attention, and then you write down a note as well. Okay, but before that, let me see if I can create okay, I'm not sure how to do this. Breakout rooms. Can I? Okay, I can do that. Okay, so in after I have explained everything, so I will require you to go into a group discussion, and then to explain back ataupun to come up with things that I need lah. Okay. But the overview I will tell you. Okay. Discuss. And if you, I've put here as well the reading material untuk week 2. Okay, the reading material for week 2. So if you need more information, you can go here, because my explanation is all based on this. And also my tambah-tambahan lah. Okay, I ada tambah-tambah sedikit info. But most of my explanation is from here. So you can read it. Make this as your reference. Okay. So, perspective on managing organization change, it is depend on how you describe your view the change. Okay, because like I've mentioned to you, organization it became complex, so it's very important for us to look into a different perspective to so that it can give new ideas, right? New ways of thinking. The view could be inconsistency, right? Like I've mentioned, it uncertainty, inconsistency. So that's why when we talk about perspective, different angles, it might not be the same. It might be conflicting, which is true. Okay, throughout my class, you will see later different kind of perspectives, and this is what we do in academic. We debate, we debate, we come out with new theory, new suggestions, new angles to look at, right? So that it can generate more ideas. So similar with changes as well, right? It can generate more ideas. It can generate the new way of thinking, right? So I always believe that when you come to study, right, similar with me lah, the reason why I wanted to study is I just want to, know things more. I want new ideas. I want to generate the new way of thinking. Um, I'm very excited if I can go to trainings and whatever because it makes me think from different perspective. So similar with organization as well. It's supposed to help them, right? And then the objective for we know the perspective in managing change is to because organizations are not the same, so it's to reflect back the differences between many ways of change. Okay, and then it's also to reflect the respective interpretation of change because sometimes we don't see it's necessary. Um, the changes is not necessary on this part, but actually we are forgetting to look at a different perspective. Maybe from the organizational perspective, we can't see why we need to change, but we forgot to take a look at the bigger picture, the industry. Okay, the industry requires us to make these changes. So yeah, it helps us to understand more. Okay. And then um, when we talk about changes, okay, we talk about the change dilemma. Okay, so change dilemma meaning that whether we want to change or not, right? And then let me share with you one. Let me just read. Hold on, ah. Okay, tak apa. I will explain it. So basically, before we can go further into this, all right, I wanted to explain to you the first theory, the first evolution of this perspective, right? Before we have 10, we have four. Okay, we have four perspective, and then this 10 perspective, you try to match it. Okay, I think I will tell you in class as well. So this 10 is actually an expansion. It's kind of like reflecting back the four perspective. Okay, and then after that, from this four perspective, it came to six perspective. Okay, because scholars, researchers, they keep on upgrading it. They keep on come up with a new perspective of seeing things. Okay, so let me share with you. Tapi you punya assignment it will be based on this 10 perspective. Okay, cuma you can add this um add this information because this is the first evolution of perspective lah. Okay, so the first one it is known as siapa yang dah baca buku tu? Anyone? Before I can start.
No.
What about others? Belum. Okay. Um, So we have rational perspective. I tulis dekat sini dulu. How to make my signal strong. So we have and then kita ada, sorry, this is not the rational perspective. It is, I think it's sebagai life cycle. And then we have biology, perspective. And then we have dialectics. And then we have evolution. And then what is social apa? Cognition. And lastly, we have cultural perspective. Okay. I terangkan yang ini dulu. Each and every part of this. Okay. Boleh nampak? Okay. So under life cycle perspective, nama dia pun life cycle. So basically, this is like a human life. Okay, when we talk about life cycle perspective, this is just like a human life cycle where we have grown. Okay, kita sebagai human, we started with our birth, and then we are growing, and then we are maturing, and then we started to decline in terms of health and so on, and then the last one is the death. Okay, so this is what it meant by the life cycle. It is about when we talk about changes, different stages, right? Different stages in the life cycle of organization, it will require a different change. For example, when the company is growing, okay, take a look at, I bagi satu example. Kalau you pernah dengar tak product life cycle? Okay, so product life cycle. Pernah dengar kan? Okay, so product life cycle, it shows a different phase. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, there are 4 phases of product life cycle. In the introduction part, in the maturity, in the growth part, maturity part, and then the declining part. Okay, so in a different phase, they are required a different strategy. So when we want to implement a strategy, so there might be a changes that you need to do. Kita ambil yang paling mudah, which is the marketing strategy. The things that you implement, right, the marketing activities that you implement during the growth ataupun the introduction, I think would not be so aggressive would be so aggressive compared when it comes to maturity, and even go down when you realize that, oh, this product is no longer relevant in the market, so it's declining. So your marketing activity, your marketing strategy should be different. So you started to think about developing a new product already, or you are thinking about the exit strategy, about just to make sure that this product to clear your stock, instead of make sure that your customer depends more on your product, okay, because you are not producing it anymore. And if you notice that your product is declining, definitely there is no more production, right? So if you do aggressive marketing, if there is a demand, so much money you not come cater demand because you stop production already. So similar like in organization, so with the different part ataupun different stages, okay, different cycle, it will be for a different, what do we call it, different things. You need to do a different things. And then after that, for the theology perspective, no, I think it's theology, yeah. Theology. No, it's not theology, it's teleo. Teleology. Okay. So for teleology perspective, this is about we talk about we focus more on purpose. So the easy way to say is that we make changes because we have a certain purpose. Okay, so this is from the teleology perspective. We focus more on purpose. So let's say if we make a change under this perspective, we will focus on strategic planning. Okay, strategic planning, it involves a very careful plan, careful control, and then very specific objective, and then the steps that we take under this change is very, very systematic because it involves strategic planning. And if you have planned something, we are talking about organization. Like if we have planned something, we need to make sure that we are following it step by step, because everything is outlined already. The thing that we need to do is just to follow the plan, if it's possible, without any any distractions ataupun deviations ke kan. So it involves a very systematic steps, systematic activity. Right, that one is about teleology. And then for dialectics, so dialectics, this one is focusing on interaction. Okay, this one is focusing on interaction. So interaction apa? In organization, there will be people with a lot of ideas, right? And I'm sure that you have experiences. You have experiences where, when we want to, you call in a meeting. Okay, try to recall. You will masuk meeting, you come into meeting, and then maybe you as a leader, you are required to make a change ataupun there are problems. Okay, there are problems in your department, and then you are looking ways to solve it. So during the meeting, you can see that some of people are discussing from their own perspective, right? And then when they are discussing from their own perspective, this is where we call dialectic perspective. Okay, then interaction between so interaction between power actor lah. Okay, power actor kat sini maksudnya bukan dia orang yang berkuasa apa. No, I mean power actor meaning that you have an authority lah. Okay, authority to give ideas. So this is when people try to get into control. When we from changes, okay, let's say if I have a different ideas and then you have a different ideas and we are both at the decision making position, so we could make decision, right? So this is what I meant by power actor. From director's perspective, change happened because of the interaction, because of the discussion, because of the conflicting ideas of the power actor organization. Sekejap, So this is about taking control, and sometimes it can be based on this one. Political forces. Political forces means that office politics. We do have organization, right? We do have organization that involved a lot with all this. We can see that a lot of political, not that political, okay? Organizations politics, okay, organization politics, where people are fighting to get their own ideas, ideology to be implemented in organization. We have people try to influence other people to follow, okay, to become a leader and then to have some kind of followers. I have seen this as well. I mean, I'm not I'm not included in this rivalry, but I have seen it before. Okay, I have seen it where um, shift happens. Okay, shift happens because of these political forces in organization. We started to focus on different things because it's simply because some actors are more powerful than the others. Right? We are not. And sometimes it's healthy. Sometimes it's not healthy, right? Because these political forces, when we talk about politics, we have to remember that it is all about their agenda. Okay, we have our agenda, we have our ideology, we have our own view, perspective. So yeah, okay. Sometimes maybe we don't understand why things happen because, but take a look at who's in charge over that. Who's who has more influence? Okay, so it might be in the dialectics perspective where a certain power actors are taking control. Okay. I hope you understand. All right, so the evolution perspective. Evolution perspective, we are talking about this is very, very relevant with the rational perspective. Rational to apa? Rational means like, okay, let's say if you are making decision, it should be a rational one. So what does rational mean? What do you think?
It has to make sense.
Then, okay, it have to make sense. That one is rational. Okay, and then another thing that about evolution, this one is rational perspective, and also this is based on the environment, the environment. It's, um, it is actually a response to the environment. I look at it based on the environment needs because as a company, you have to make change because you have to respond to what environment needs, right? What are the because we are responding to our situation, to our environment, right? Let's say if you notice that, hey, um, let's take a look at our competitors. Our competitors are already in front, memang dah jauh. We are way ketinggalan. And then takkan you don't want to make any change, right? So the rational thing is to at least do something about it. If you tak dapat kerja ataupun if you can't be on par, at least you are dekat with your competitors. At least in terms of the apa tu orang panggil tu brand brand equity tu tak ada terlalu jauh sangat kan. So this is we respond to the environment needs. It can be external environment lah kan yang you belajar, for example like the political, legal, apa lagi? Social, technology, and also the environment itself, the ecology. So this, under evolution perspective, we make change because we simply need to. Right? This is a rational thing to do. This is something that we have to respond to the environment. This is the new way of doing things. Okay, so that is what we call as evolution perspective. And then we have social cognition perspective. So social cognition perspective, this one is about mental process. Okay, mental process. So mental process is actually maksud mental process is the way that our attitude, our memory, our perceptions. Okay, so we make changes because, and also another thing about mental process is very this one, reasoning. Okay, very important. Try to recall back when you make a decision, okay, or you try to make any changes to the decision. It doesn't matter whether this is on organization based ataupun your personal decision making. Pernah tak at some point you think that I have my own reason to do this. Okay, even though that people don't understand why you do this, why you take such decision ataupun such steps. And then you said that it's okay. I je yang faham. I have my own reason. Okay, so this is what we call as mental process. So social cognition perspective means that when you make change, because this is your own reasoning, right? It's quite this is very dangerous, right? This is very dangerous in organization. If the top management decides to do this, but they have this is a challenge, right? I understand. Okay, top management leaders, they have their own reasoning to do whatever they want, but you have to make sure the people who will do the job, who will make your dream come true, is the employee. So you have to communicate your reasons to your employee. Okay, it doesn't matter, it's okay. All right, I understand. Okay, from your perspective, this is just like your own reason, your own mental process, your own attitude, perceptions towards something, right? But again, you need to make sure that first, definitely it's not unethical. And secondly, you kena bagi tahu orang lah kan the reason. You need people to you need to make people understand from your own perspective, from your own view. Why do you see this thing? Okay, I'm not sure. Have you ever experienced this before? Like you can't understand, but you think now that you hear this from me, you kind of okay. So maybe my top management is doing this because their own reasoning. Okay, and sometimes it's a mental process. If we are talking about individual, they suddenly realize, okay, realize that they need to grow atau modify their behavior. So this is this is from social cognition perspective. They just realized that okay, we need to make change because I realized that it's time for us to grow, and then there are some a part of work activities no longer works, right? And then we have to change this. Okay, we have to modify our work process, our way of doing things. Maybe we are not longer focusing on this. We want to focus on anything else. Maybe we want to do restructuring to be more effective, to be more efficient. We want to put people at their right place and so on. Okay. So that one is social perspective based on, I think the most important part is reasoning lah. Okay, it's a mental process reasoning. That's the cultural perspective. So I think this one is easy. Okay, cultural perspective, this is about collective norms. Suddenly in organization, everybody is doing that. So okay, so let's change towards that, right? Maybe this you can learn from different departments. They are doing a different way of work. So when it becomes a norm, then you can change just because of the cultural perspective. It can also be based on the, let's say previously the organization, it's not too diverse. Right, it's not too diverse. It is only focused on one race or one nationality. So now that we have a diverse work population in our workplace, and then it will become a norm for people to work with diverse population. We are no longer working together with one specific race. So we need to adapt this new culture. Then this will become your new change from cultural perspective. So when we talk about this is quite similar with responding to the environment as well. However, it focuses more on the collective norms, like everybody is doing it, then you make it a permanent change, right, to your organization, because simply is collective norms, and it can be collective norms, beliefs, and attitude. Okay, so these are the 6 idea tingkat sini dulu. Okay, maybe I can paste it here. Okay. our information of here. 6 base, is it base? Yeah lah, okay, base theory. And then after that, then only it came here. Okay. Okay. So now that you have that, the uh, mm, okay, sorry, I'm sorry. The numbering is dekat you punya chat box. The numbering is here and there. Okay, but I think you should be able to understand lah. I have put spaces. Okay. So from here, I'm going to ask, okay, throughout the class, which one you think is which one. Okay, for example, like the biological perspective, I will explain, and then you help me to identify which perspective. Okay, from this 6 base perspective. Okay. So when we talk about biological perspective, this is about okay. All right. So this is about evolution and also life cycle. Okay. So from biological perspective, it's about. I'm sorry. You can still see my screen.
Yes, Miss. Is it about typology of 10 perspective?
Yeah, my screen data. Okay, okay. So this one, right? The biological perspective, change as evidence to those in natural world. Okay, so when we talk about biology perspective, this is all about how the constant change to environmental circumstances. So you can see from my explanation later, it's quite redundant ataupun quite similar because this is what we have discussed just now, right? So under biological perspective, right? This is one term that you need to understand is the population ecology. If you read the book, right, you should be able to see about population ecology. So under population ecology, meaning that it means that um, organization, right? Organization, they go through a certain life cycle as well. Okay, I have explained this before. So, for example, like during the beginning, the establishment of the company during the startup, right? And then after that, they have expansions, and then they go mature, and then maybe after that they go divestment. Okay, so this is what we talk about biological perspective. Under this perspective, organizations are viewed as a living organism. What they have to do, okay, they have to make change in order for them to survive, right? In order for them to survive, yeah, just like a biology, nothing you have to eat, right, to survive. So similar like organization, they keep on implementing change just to they must adapt with the current environment to survive, to thrive. And then when we talk about these changes, okay, in biological perspective, normally this is an incremental to maksudnya slow pace, right? It is not a radical ataupun when we talk about biological perspective, this is we talk about long-term changes, slowly, incremental. This is not radical where you shift everything in one night and then for a short term. So okay, when we talk about biological perspective, it's an incremental throughout stages until it came to maturity, right? Any implementation that we take until it's matured. And then after that, this strength, okay, this one, okay, this strength, incremental slow change. However, it can be change can be rapid, right? Because if we for organization, if we too slow, right, the world will not wait for you. The environment will not wait for you. Okay, that's why change can be rapid, but your organization is moving incrementally. Okay, but for good reasons to make sure that it's for long term. Cuma the weakness is change can be rapid and for organization it will be unable for you to adapt. Belum, you haven't make a fully change yet, then things are changing already. So that is the weaknesses. Okay. So under this perspective, the implementation is about being agile, right? Being agile and then try to foster a new way of doing things slowly, come up with innovation within the organization. Okay. So, for example, like I give you one example, but I love to hear more from you. If you have, okay, you can just put here in the chat box. From this kind of perspective, what do you think changes that happen in organization? Okay, you can think as well. You can think and then share with us. I'm going to give you one example. You can see that companies they keep on come up with products, right? Products offerings, and then we can see that during the product offerings, the identity remains the same, but in order for them to respond to the customer needs, they change a little bit their features and so on. Especially, for example, like this iPhone than Apple phone. So basically, it's the same lah. The design is the same. The identity is the same. The apa the interface are same, cuma ditambah lah a little bit apa itu features kan, and then whenever that they come up with something, nanti competitors like Android say that Android dah lama dah buat, okay. So yeah, this is an incremental slow change, but for a long time, like, people still buying from them. Okay, so they must have their a very good strategy ataupun yeah, very good identity, so that people are still buying from them, even though that apa competitors have done it long time ago. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, one thing that I really love at masa dia orang implement the Apple Wallet. Kan Apple Wallet, and then they say that Samsung Wallet apa dah lama ada kan, Samsung. So like okay. So yeah, this is one of the example lah. Okay. They need to change. But what happened if you refuse to change? This is happened with Nokia, right? Nokia, they are trying to focus more on their identity, so they are can't keep up ataupun can't compete with other smartphones at that time. Okay, but once upon a time, Nokia, we know that this is the pioneer, the boleh dikatakan like the most used phones before we have smartphone. Everyone owns Nokia phone at that time. Okay, I pun own Nokia phone sampai kena rampas because dulu asrama tak boleh bawa phone kan, but I did bring it as apa tu? I still bring it sampai kena rampas lah phone. So yeah, when when and after I keluar dari asrama tu, they supposed to give it back, right? Tapi dia tak bagi balik. Okay. Um, it's so crazy. My boarding school, we can't even bring teddy bears. Maybe it's a common thing with boarding school. I'm not sure. Tapi tak pernah dengar lagi lah orang teddy bear
Because,
ni rampas.
because people hide things in the teddy bear.
But they didn't.
I see in the movies people hide drugs or what.
Yeah, okay, true, true. It's like a military camp where, when you go to school, you cannot leave anything in there. The reason, okay, their own reasoning why we cannot do that, because when you bring teddy bear, you akan tinggalkan masa you pergi class. So they don't want to see anything other than your pillow dekat dalam your bag. So you have to keep it lah. But if they do spot check at night and then you are hugging your teddy bears, they will take it. Tak faham. Okay, but anyways, that's this iklan sekejap, okay? Then, so that's the example. Okay, next is I go to rational perspective first, and then we can take a break. Okay. So for rational perspective, this is what we talk about just now lah. Okay, when we talk about rational perspective, this is because we think that it needs to be done, right? Logical analysis. Now we plan, we gather ideas, and then we decide that yes, I think this is a logical thing to do based from our analysis, based on the facts that you have put it here. So this is what we are going to implement. Okay. And under this rational, okay. So under this rational perspective, again, it uses a strategic approach. Okay, therefore, it will provide much like a structured framework for change management. Right, you clearly emphasize your goals, your objective, your strategy, very carefully planned. Right, comprehensive planning. Yeah, and every decision making, it must be based on the very data driven facts, not kena rational lah kan, kena dia supported by facts, supported by statistic data, and so on. So the implementation process, it will be systematic, okay, logical. The strength here, linear, direct, and based on planning. Okay, I wanted to show you. I saw the picture, but how to get the picture from? I saw it during one of the talk that I have listened about changes. Okay, tapi tunjuk dekat sini. So from the talk, we learned that, let's say when we talk about changes, people thought, okay, when we talk about changes process in organization, so we always thought, organization always thought that the change process in organization is this linear, right? So you have you, that's me, A, as a leader, and then you try to get to your outcome. So under one of the critics about change process in organization, organization view changes as a linear line, but sebenarnya, okay, but in reality, it's not this simple. All right, when we talk about change process, this one is messy. You will face failures and failures and failures. So it's not like this. It's just like our life. We have some of us lah, because some people, they really have a very good linear life, and but some of us, we do have rough path. So sometimes we met failure on the way, and then we have to we have to get up again, and then in order for us to come to the outcome. So under rational perspective, one of the weakness ataupun one of the critics is that you only see this as a linear line. You think that you can, the focus on this perspective is to control, okay? Focus on controllability. Is that even a word? Yeah, controllability. You focus more on being in control, right? Without taking into account that the rough patches that you're going to face during the change process. Okay, and under this perspective as well, one of the critics is that they thought that when we talk about change process, it involved a series of it involved a series of predictable things. Maksudnya dekat sini ialah, if I do this, I will definitely get this. right? Because it doesn't work that way. So from it's quite dangerous for organization to implement ataupun to do changes based on rational perspective, because we will have that in mind that if we do this systematically, we will get there, right? You have to understand that the changes process is unpredictable, right? You can manage, you can plan, but you have to be prepared as well to find difficulties, to find failures, challenge along the way. Okay. And then we have another thing that about another perspective ataupun another things about change continuity, right? Change continuity tu maksudnya ialah when we want to make it's two different, not conflicting, but it is two different things to look at to make change. And another thing is to continue doing things the way it is. All right. So for organizations, sometimes they want change, but they also want safety. They want everything is to be continuously as before. Okay. So it's quite difficult to make change from the rational perspective. It will be you have to open up your mind about more uncertainty, more apa orang panggil tu complexity of change. Okay, so this is what rational perspective meant. Okay, so let's take sorry, example. For rational perspective, the example is another critics. Oh, I banyak kritik rational perspective. Another one is because it's too systematic, so it forgot about human. Okay, it forgot about human. It forgot about human capacity, the emotional part, right? Because this is when you do, it's very data driven and so on, and then you really focus on the outcome that you want. Okay, so let's say dekat tengah-tengah ni, okay, let's say lah ada seorang ahli dekat sini yang kena implement the change, but you forgot about Ali totally, kan? Ali boleh balik malam ke tak? So you forgot about the human being over here. This is one of the critics lah. And then why this is important? Because nanti Ali it will be resist lah, kan? Resist to make change ataupun resist to participate in change process. So under rational perspective, this is one of the weaknesses. Okay, example. So for example, again, I'm doing, let's say for a company, they want to achieve totally high performance, and then they want to be ataupun they wanted to go abroad. Okay, so this company, they want to expand their company to go abroad. So that is their outcome. That is their ultimate outcome. So throughout the change, they conduct a thorough market analysis of a new place for a new country. And mana kita panggil kalau dalam international business, we call it like a country analysis, a very detailed country analysis, so that we understood better all the risks, all the things that we required in order for us to start business over there, right? To entering a new market abroad, for example. So to do market analysis under this perspective, because it involves systematic things, right? Systematic, and then involve a lot of data statistics. So kena ada buat a very thorough analysis. Okay, so let's take a break. And then when we come back, I'm going to continue. Kita ada banyak lagi perspective. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit so that after that I can hear from you more. Okay. So next, we are going to talk about the institutional perspective. We take 5 minutes break. Next is institutional perspective. So for institutional perspective, so we have take a look at 2 perspectives. And I think that I haven't mentioned about a lot about industry. So from institutional perspective, okay, this one, One of the forces, not one of the focus. Okay, the focus from institutional perspective is the industry, right? Industry, the the pressure to change comes from the pressure to conform with the industry. Okay, so this is from perspective, institutional perspective, right? And other things as well as other environment. Okay, that's why you can see here it still includes social, governmental, legal, and cultural. Okay, so encourage conformity to standards, especially the industrial standards. I could give example. Okay, so for example, like a pharmaceutical company, whether they like it or not, okay, they have to follow the FDA. So any changes that industry requires, then they have to make that change as well. Okay, so that one is from institutional perspective. I think this is quite easy for us to understand. Okay, in terms of the implementation, the change effort involve understanding and leveraging the existing institutional practice. So we focus more on the regulatory and we talk about quality standards. Okay, regulatory quality standards, things that industry needs. Okay, industry has. You have to oblige to the standards. So some of the weakness is because this is to focus on the institutional, so it focuses about the internal forces such as what, such as your employees, such as your own organization capabilities and your own asset that you have, the resources that you have, and so on. Okay, so this brings to another perspective, which is the resources. Okay, under the resources, if you take a look at here, under resources perspective, is changes are required. Okay, changes are required ataupun changes are implemented because of the acquisition or deployment of resources. So when we talk about resources in organization, it is not just about financial resources. It also includes human, physical assets, and then knowledge, skills. So all of that are the resources in organization. So from this perspective, we make change because we want to, it's either acquire a new acquisition of a new resources and so deployment of resources for survival and prosperity. Okay. And then some of the information in the book, right? The limitation, I think I have mentioned just now, okay? Because the capabilities, okay, the capabilities, and like previously institutional, one of the weakness is because the organizational capacity, but for resource perspective, this one is what we try to do is we try to change the capabilities of its leader, and then the fact that organization is unable to generate internally at the different types of resources. That's why when we make change, we try to make from resources perspective to get more, okay, to get more resource for the company. So the implementation of resource perspective it can involve reallocation of resources, investing in new capabilities, like I've mentioned to you, because leaders, they don't have, let's say if leaders, they don't have the capabilities to perform as leaders, right? So it requires a new skill, new knowledge, and so on. And optimizing the resources that they have to avoid any wastage, so you can achieve effectiveness and efficiency. All right, so weakness demands resource for success. Demand resource for success. Okay, how to explain this? All right, the weaknesses about some company, okay, some company, let's say they don't apa orang panggil tu they don't even have enough resources. Okay, let's say if you compare with competitors, this organization doesn't even have enough resources. So let's make it changes from resource perspective. It will be difficult for them, right? Because in order, according to this perspective, demand resource for success. One of the things that the implementation change can be successful is to get another resources. But for a company who doesn't afford to get to utilize more ataupun to acquire more resources, it will not be quite a good thing for them lah. Okay, that's the good thing. Okay, change means competitive advantage. Change means unique. Um, you try to come up with more resources so that you can implement more. For example, you have unique work process. Contoh lah kan, about production. So you implement a new technology, so your production can be more faster. I think I've read a few news about if I remember, then I will share with you. Okay, next is contingency perspective. So contingency perspective is based on situation, right? Changes strategy should be on specific context, specific environment, and specific circumstances facing the organization. So this behavioral view governed by situation. Change decision must account for technology, structure, and size. So the strength here is the awareness of the environment, means that the company, the organization are really fast responding to the environment. Whatever the environment needed, then you will be making change quickly, right? However, this might be a little bit inflexible, not systematic. Okay, compared to the one that we have just now, rational. Okay, so for rational, it's very systematic, but for contingency, it's a lack of system and best way because we just responding. It could be, but not always. One of the example is you are firefighting with everything, right? You make change whenever the situation requires. Okay, so that one is contingency. But now that we know this perspective, how we can better leverage this perspective is if let's say we are responding to in the environment, we should plan ataupun we should make sure that there is a systematic way. There is a system to do this. There is a best way to do this so that it doesn't look like you are pangkat muat ataupun you are doing in a short-term basis. Remember that a lot of changes, it will affect your employee. Confusion lead to their confusions, lead to and later it can impact their job security. Why job security? Because imagine that you have been doing the same thing for maybe like 2-3 years. You are expert in that thing already, and then changes happen. You have to learn new things. And then if you are a fast learner, if you can adapt quickly, then it's fine for you. But imagine that you have a population of workforce which maybe are not that fast learner. Maybe it requires more time to learn, more supervision to learn. So they will feel scared of losing their job because of their unproductivity, for example. So yeah, banyak change requires employees to learn new things faster, and then this will make them afraid, anxious about their job. Anxious about their job, no job satisfaction, no job satisfaction, no productivity. So it is all related lah. Okay. Yeah. So the critics of this are that's the critics, okay, because it's very lack of system. And then because they are trying to adapt with the external environment, so maybe they are quite difficult to maintain or to preserve their own work process, their own identity, or shaping where do you see themselves in the future? Very difficult to do strategic planning over here. So example is MNC, okay, huge company. So maybe it happens in a small department where they have to try to accommodate the cultural differences, new regulatory requirements, and then a business operates in various regions, right? MNC. So they have to respond to that, to the environment in that particular region. Okay, next is number 6 is the psychological perspective. So psychological, this is thinking about human, about the individual attitudes, about the belief, emotions. Okay, for example, like the resistance to change, the fear. So this is from perspective. We have to take a look at the rational perspective. This is on organization. We have to take a look at the institutional perspective, which is focused on the industry. So now we take a look at the human side. Okay, so human side is we make change because of the psychological perspective, where we focus more on the human sides of change experience. So we take a look at how human interact with changes, such as communication, sorry, communication, engagement, and also support. So under this psychological perspective, so the strength is we try to understand of personal stress, employee or employer in the change management process. Right? But the weakness is because maybe we tend to focus more on the, okay, I give you one example. Yeah, I give you one example. We make change because of the job, job dissatisfaction, right? You or there is a company when people work in fear, right? So you wanted to change that. You don't want your employee to, to feel fear when they come to office. They will feel like, yeah, especially when they have a leader, they have in that organization, leader is so transactional, focus more on reward and punishment. Okay, you do this, you do it for my one letter. So employee feel scared even to do a small mistake, right? And when we afraid to not make a small mistake, we forgot to learn, we forgot to, like, we make everything like, bukan lah maksudnya kat tempat kerja, we have to make mistake, Okay, but we learn from the mistake. Bukannya careless mistake, I'm not talking about a careless mistake, right? When we try to take risks, whatever, so there must be, sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. And then if employees are too fearful, ada kata fearful, so definitely there is no creativity, there is no innovation. Say goodbye to innovation. It will not help your company, right? It will be I remember, okay, I remember when I finished my diploma, my master degree, no, my bachelor degree. So, tak sabar-sabar nak kerja kan, nak curahkan ilmu yang ada ni kan. So, I work I worked in this one company, a very small company, okay, very small company just for my pocket money lah, that time. And then, we are so scared of the leader, right? We are not dependent leader in our department. My department leader is okay. But we are scared of the owner of the company, right? This is either a family business, a small family business, but we are scared with the owner. So I'm young, right? I'm very young at that time. But I have a lot of ideas because I've just graduated and I just graduated. I would like to see more, I would like to contribute more. I have more big passions. But when it comes to organization where you are able to speak up because the owner is garang and so you are not participating. Yeah, as a company, you might, yeah, you waste you waste one good opportunity to get information, to get ideas from your employees. So you have you have to change that, all right? You have to change. If you think that the employee are you're working very anxious, you are not satisfied, so changes are required. But again, this is to become let's say to become more lenient or whatever, so that the weakness is to tend to ignore the systemic issue. Maybe we just focus on the emotional part, but we don't know why they feel that, right? So what are the root cause of it? What are the systemic issue that is happening in our workplace? Is there any particular things that we don't know? For example, like maybe a particular leader yang implement this such work culture ataupun work process. So actually, you have to take care of that problem, not about your employees. You take care of that one person. Cuba transferkan that person, so you can see that the organization is blooming ataupun that department is blooming, whatever. Right? I could love to stay. So, 7, political perspective. So, political perspective. This is like the change is viewed as a political process involving power dynamics, driven by the desire to introduce new philosophy, approach, or idea. Okay? And then the weakness here is the change needs power to work, need influence, right? Need followers. Because this is because what can cause conflict, right? In organization, because and also it will be resolved by power. Who has the most influence can get to change ataupun can work more on the implementation. Okay, so the political perspective is quite similar with which one? Yang tadi ada 6 tadi. This one is which one? The political perspective.
Dialectic perspective, Miss. Is
Right.
it
Evolution.
dialectic,
Evolution.
and
Yeah.
evolution?
Evolution. Okay. So but most relate is the dialectic, right? Because it's about taking control, it's about political forces, it's about having power to make change, and then you are fighting for that power to make change. So an example, really simple when the change of CEO. Okay, when the change of CEO, and then this CEO ada macam-macam idea, ada macam-macam things they want to do. He or she has a strategic vision. Okay, where do I want to bring this company? And then the rest of the employee, the rest of even the top management itself has to working with the current system then. And then when new boss comes in, so there is a dialectic, whatever changes that is implemented, we can view it from this perspective. Maybe because a new way of doing, maybe because of the new power forces that we can see changes in our company because of this power force. Next is cultural perspective. With cultural perspective, it's governed by the values and beliefs shared by organizational members, right? So I think that you should know this one, cultural perspective. Definitely the culture perspective that you have discussed just now. So I didn't have to repeat that again. The strength is the role of collective values and beliefs. So if everyone is doing it, it will be easier for us to implement it. But the weakness is too difficult to diagnose and manage. All right. And then this one, for example. If you have worked in Sony more than 10 years, can you speak in Japanese? Why? We should, if the language is practiced in the workplace, we should be able to speak in Japanese, but if it's not practiced there, so we wouldn't know how to speak, right? I have friends who work 10 years with, most of the population is Chinese, but she still can't speak Mandarin. I can speak better than her. Because it should be that, right? It's a very good platform for you to learn new language, working with different populations, different background. Next, the systems perspective. Okay, so the system perspective, relationship of organizational type and change must be holistic. You have to account of everything in organization. We have to remember that organization is complex machine. So when we talk about complex machine, it must be detailed. Okay, from the systems perspective, you need to be very clear. You need to have a systemic framework about how different types in organization can can involve in change process, how to interact, how to influence each other. So this one is a holistic change intervention lah. Okay, system perspective. I don't have do I have experience on the system perspective? Yeah, I do. I do have actually. Okay, one of the things that we did before this is they changed a totally new KPI. Okay, they changed a totally new performance management system where the identification of productivity ataupun performance are different, right? I think that is the whole system because it will affect the way that you are doing your work, right? Your outcome as well before this. Maybe like what from my experience, we don't really have to take care of students' attrition at that time. So my KPI is just to maintain my what we call it, the teaching evaluation. Okay, so I have to maintain my teaching evaluation. I have to maintain my research. I have to maintain the number of classes that I have been assigned to me and the number of cancellation class. So the more cancel class you have means that you are not performing well. Okay, it makes sense. Okay. And then after that, they make a new performance system. So I have to take care about the student attrition in my class. So let's say if they drop during my semester, they have been taking my subjects before this and then they dropped out. So that can be considered as my performance as well. Yeah, adding a lot of stress, right? We didn't know that there might be other things that make the students drop out, not specifically our subject or the way that we take care of him or her. But yeah, it's very scared. Oh, sorry, I just present here. Means what do you mean by change need power to change? Oh, this one for political. Okay, so for political, like I've mentioned to you just now, because we are talking about the political forces, right? Who has the more power? So in order, we need we need to implement change. We need power to work. We need power to make the change, right? Because this is if you don't have enough influence, macam tadi kan CEO tu. So if you don't have enough power, of course people will listen to you because you have more power. People will listen to you because you are the top management. But imagine if you are the new CEO and then you join the company and then the rest of your board members and what's it's okay, I'm not that. Yeah. I'm okay here. It's okay. Not bad. No. Thank you. Okay, so back to I'm sorry. It's my game. So yeah, right. So you need power. So let's say if you are the board of director and then ataupun you are, let's say, a director, okay, of your marketing director, for example. So if you don't have influence, if you don't have enough power, enough influence to fight for changes with your CEO, then so it doesn't work. That's why it means that under political perspective, change needs power to work under this perspective. Okay. Lastly, it's about the postmodern perspective. Okay, so the postmodern perspective, it's easy. So under postmodern perspective, the notion here is they don't want whatever that we have discussed, the rational perspective, they reject everything about change as linear, predictable, and controllable. process. Okay, they don't want that, all right? And then this is very good perspective because it encourages critical reflection of change narrative, okay, for the power structure, for promoting the diversity, creativity. So this is like a holistic thinking, the perspective where we have to take care of everything, right? We need to first rational tolak. And under this postmodern perspective, rational is a linear line. We have to disregard that. Okay, changes is not like that. So only focus on system? No. We need to understand. We have to take care of the human side as well. Okay, we have to embrace all the failures, uncertainty, innovation. So we have to do that, right? So there is no room for only strategic planning, but forget about external environment, forget about internal environment. So postmodern perspective is trying to do everything at once. But again, in terms of weaknesses, it can lead to confusion because which one for us to focus? What are the steps? Okay, let's see if you have enough manpower and a good leader to implement changes under this perspective, then it will be such a very, very good change process. But the problem here is we are working with individuals with diverse background, diverse idea, right? In order for us, from this perspective, it shows that one of the critics that I can say is um, it's very difficult to do everything equally in organization, all right? Because we have different parts in our organization. It's very difficult to treat everything equally. Let's say lah, kalau misalnya as simple as budgeting. Kalau you nak treat it equally kan, no, it doesn't work that way. So it needs systematic punya system lah, and a very detailed analysis of which budget should go to this department dapat berapa budget and so on. Okay. So postmodern perspective, it's very good because you take into account everything, all right, and then embrace innovation uncertainty as well, and then explain and accept contradiction. So not only focus on one thing, however, it can lead to confusion. And too many things to do at one time. So you need to have much better resources for this. All right. And then, for example, like I give you one example. For example, like non-profit organization. Okay, non-profit organization, they try to adopt an approach for example, like strategic planning, and they have to work with not only their internal stakeholders but external stakeholders, and especially in collaborating. So, under this postmodern perspective, this NGO try to implement engagement with stakeholders in every best way possible. Because best way possible. Taking into account of everything, okay, decision making process to address all the complex issue that we have. Okay. All right. So I think that's all for my part. Okay. I hope that you understand, you get a little bit idea of what I'm saying for this past 1.5 hours. So it's time for you to do something for me. But hold on. I'm searching for it. Okay. What I want you to do is, okay. Okay, you guys take a breath first for 2 minutes while I'm preparing this. Pernah masuk breakout room tak? Tahu tak cara nak masuk breakout room dekat Zoom?
Bukan auto
Okay. So let's do that today. Tapi biar I tulis dulu because you have to think before you make decision. Okay. Okay, so here I have 5 questions. Is it questions? Discussion question lah. Okay, macam mana I nak jadikan dia? Can I do this? View. Let me make it smaller. Nampak juga kan? Okay, so here ada 5 soalan. And then I have berapa orang? 10 orang tolak I dengan SKC, so ada 8 orang. Mana yang lain lah? We should have 16 if I'm not mistaken. Oh, 15. Mungkin masih beraya lagi. Okay, tak apa. So I'm going to open these 5 rooms. You think, baca dulu all question. Which one you think that you want to discuss with your friends? Right, I'm going to open 5 rooms. So let's say kalau room tu kosong, then I will transform you to another room lah to discuss. Okay. Ataupun if you like, then you can do by your own lah. Okay, this question. So you baca dulu while I create the room. For I think dalam 15 minutes the discussion. Okay, for the discussion, okay, I open all room. So based on that, you guys can choose. Okay, you go to ada options more, lepas tu ada breakout room. You click that breakout room, so lepas tu you join. You click join. Click more. So, Amelia 4, Nizam 5. Amal, can you join 5? Oh, Amal tak ada.
I tengah, I don't know, kat sini ada chat AI companion apps tak ada pun.
Alright, I pun tak boleh nak assign. Okay, I can assign you room 5 Amal?
Okay.
Okay, so everybody's back. I hope that you get a very fruitful discussion with your classmates. Okay, so room 2, room 1 tak ada orang, right? There no one choose room 1. Room 2, can we hear from Camelia, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Miss Zuria. Sorry. Okay. I have chosen number 4. Actually, is it possible if I try to answer number 4, Miss Zuria?
Boleh, but I think we have another. Sekejap. Sorry. Okay, boleh. Number 4. It's okay. We can listen to both answer. Okay, yeah.
Okay. How to handle an employee's resistance to change due to fear and insecurity. So based on the perspective, especially biological, they feel that actually most employees, they are worried about some changes because especially like, for example, new technology, when it is introduced into their company, they feel threatened because they need to actually start from, or they have to go for training, or they need to go for more meetings to actually understand the new technology that has been introduced. So it is very considered as hassle to actually start all over again.
Okay.
Is that correct, Ms. Julia?
Yes, but how to handle this resistance?
To handle, they need to actually go for more trainings, and then the leaders actually need to actually make them feel that it is it is possible for the new changes, and they must actually try their best to adapt with these changes, whether they like it or not, they still have to try.
Okay, all right. But they already feel fear. So let's say if they say that if we ask them to whether you like it or not, you have to make change. Wouldn't that be adding to the fear?
Yes, but with time and with gradually they will actually adapt. For example, like most of our workplace, there are new changes that have been introduced to our company, but we have no choice. We just have to go through it. So gradually we will able to overcome with this problem.
Okay, all right. Do we have another answer for room 4?
Hi,
Yeah,
Miss.
Miss.
Yeah,
Yes.
Fanny
Hi.
and I
Answernya pas.
discuss. Yeah. So Fanny, you go first. You go first. We give the same, almost the same I mean the same answers for how to
Yeah.
handle the employee. So Fanny, you explain to Miss first.
So basically, I'm in banking sector. So basically, what we did is we our the HR will list out like some form to our manager, and it's more it's and also people also as ourselves the workers also have the calendar box. The calendar box is where we can choose and select um um the 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 training session. So basically when about the employee resistant, I don't think that we have problem um because um because it's more on refreshment, not like it's very totally rapid changes is rapid change, because we learns about it. And in my sectors, all the seniors, all the trainers is in among our group. So before we training, we also known for each other for like more than 8 years, 5 years. So we already known each other. And then to handle the resistant or change due to fear, it's not about the informations. It's about um the new the new challenge on um in my experience. It's more about how we gonna um we say
Boleh guna bahasa Melayu to explain?
handle the things lah, Miss. Yeah. So
So,
basically the materials is given, and then we more on open on our apa tu discussion lah,
yes.
like what we are facing in our, because we have same issues among our branches. So the peoples that attend in that area is facing the same problem. So when we are facing the same problem, we come out with ideas. So not just about we receive the information, but we tell I mean we address the issues to our trainers as well. So we can come out with better ideas. And it's more fun. I think more fun because all the branches can go there, and then we aside from training, we can go for jalan-jalan a bit. So that's the good things in our company.
Okay. I think there is another individual who would like to say something just now.
Yeah, Miss. I'm
Yes.
in the same room with Fandi.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We emphasize on training, but most of the time, what we have feedbacks from the not I mean not employee lah. I mean the colleague, because I'm not the top management as well. So our colleague, they are fear of more workloads or more of time consuming to implement what we change. So these fears we come up, one, yes, for sure, training. The other one is these extra changes may not not cause for extra work. They merge in what they are routinely doing, but they able to put it as another change. I mean, not extra workload. So that I'm working in public sector. So obviously, I'm working in very divisional job. Each of department, they have their own job. So we merge. What we want to do, we merge along the way, and then make sure it's not time consuming to do it. And then they can send the report or any part of the changes by the end of the month, which is together with the report or with the written that they have to do. Only that. Yeah, very simple things, I think. Sure.
Okay, thank you for all the answers. I understand. Okay, training is very an integral part when it comes to change, especially when we are facing with individuals or employees who they have a certain fear that first they are fear that definitely like Ms. Antonia said just now is they afraid that it will increase their workload. Okay, that is the first fear. And then the second fear is they have like Mr. Faisal and Ms. Camelia said that they have to learn new things, right? They have to learn new technology. So not everybody is willing, ataupun not just willing, have the capacity to learn again, all right? If let's say I have seen this with my own mom during COVID. So a lot of she got a lot of trainings, digital trainings. Okay, so for someone who is about 50 something years old, this is like new thing for her. Okay, started to do digital training where can click sana, kena click sini, so she got panic, right? And then of course her amazing doctor like kena tolong kan. So and then the number three is the fear of not performing. Okay, so when we talk about change, there will be always a fear of what if I cannot perform? What if this thing, this new thing that I haven't done yet, or this new thing that it has been implemented will affect my job performance? What if I cannot do that? Okay, so as a worker myself, I often feel that. All right, so when I feel that, I felt insecurity about my job. What if I couldn't get the same bonus that I get last year? What if I don't get the promotion that I've been eyeing for past 3, 4 years? Because of these new things, this new experience. Okay, so I felt insecurity. Yes, I get your point. By giving them a lot of trainings can help in their their technical skill. Technical skill maksudnya information. Okay, the way that to do the work, to understand the changes. Yes, that one is okay for training, covered. Right? However, because this is about feelings, right? About we have to do more, right? We have to when we talk about insecurity, we have to make sure that we need to guarantee them that your job is secure. How to do that? So as a managerial side, what you can do is you set, this is just example. This is just one of the example of strategy. Okay, you can implement a time period. Okay, so you can see that, all right, we are implementing this change, but I'm not expecting you to be expert in 1 month period, right? We are going to take a look at this whole thing in 3 months. So the first 2 weeks you should be able to understand this. The first month you should be able to understand this part. By the end of 3 months, only you will get evaluated. So when we know that, oh, okay, so I actually have time, right? This is not that very quickly. Provided that the changes happens not so rapid lah, okay. But if Mr. Faisal said that change is rapid, so 3 months tak sempat kan? So provided that the change is not rapid, okay, at least give them a timeline. Okay, give them a timeline so that we can work. We have a job, what we call as job design. Job design meaning that everybody, they have their own authority how to do their work. No one tells you that pukul 8 pagi you have to do this. By 10 a.m. you should supposed to do this. No, you are your own mastermind while doing your work. So you should know bila you nak buat kerja mana dulu kan. So that is what we call as one of the job authority lah, one of the job design. So yeah, management punya side, and then for here we give them information about more guarantees, okay, for me, like more guarantees, and the most important part is guideline. You don't, as a manager, as top management, you don't dump a huge change without giving a proper instructions, proper guideline. And this guideline, this information should be circulated everywhere. It should be in the email. It should be in the monthly meeting. So it should be communicated, right? And then it should be available for them to keep on seeing the instructions. So benda baru kan, kalau benda baru you just give one time. Contoh macam kat online lecture ni kan. I notice one weaknesses with online ni, okay? For example, like macam this one kan, notes. If I don't put this in Europe, macam mana nanti you nak refer it back, right? So that's why kita ada learning management system where everything is here. Okay, you can find assignments, instruction, you boleh undang tengok kan, and then recording as well. So before this, kalau online, if we talk about like 4 years ago COVID, LMS masa tu it's not fully utilized kan. Buat online class pun balik-balik student akan tanya macam mana nak buat ni, where do we can find this. So now LMS is fully utilized. Everything is there. Everything is uploaded. So that is one way to handle your insecurity. Okay, so let's hear from another room. Room berapa? 5. I nampak room 5 macam meriah je.
Hi, Miss. I was in room 5 with Nizam, but I think Nizam is better at explaining it. It's very clear. I think everyone will understand better.
I'm not sure whether this is correct or wrong, Miss, but I'll try.
Okay.
Okay, for political perspective, let me give the background first. Let's say in one organization, we have the CEO and we have the chairman, where the CEO is involved in operational of the company, and the chairman on the DASA or of controlling the board of directors. But in this incident, the chairman would like to get involved in the operational aspects and constantly disturbing or constantly get involved in the operational aspect of the company. So it will have an effect on the company, first on the people, because we have two set of division. One is to follow the chairman, or the other is to follow the CEO. So we have two division of people, so we cannot make any changes. The company cannot make any changes, or the company cannot make any innovation in moving forward. And secondly, when we have the diversions or interruptions like that, the company cannot move forward, and it will reduce the prospect of to get profits or to get more innovation in the future. So in order to do that, the CEO must ensure that the chairman does not get involved of the operations of the bank. So what the CEO must done is to make a demarcation of scope of work. Demarcation meaning the CEO is going to handle this, the chairman is going to handle the other section of the company. If the demarcation is set, and also setting up of the committees where they can jointly, where the chairman cannot get involved in the operational, so the CEO will introduce committees, and then the decision of the committees will be informed to the chairman, so that the chairman cannot go involved with the decision made by the committee. I think that's that's
Yeah. Understood. Okay, very well explained, Mr. Nizam. Yes, okay. I have seen this situation before. Okay, so what happened was, it's quite similar with what you said. Because CEO is much more operation, because he had to oversee everybody else is doing. Okay, meanwhile for chairman, it's all about strategies, planning, ideas, objective, and so on. So what I've seen before this is that this particular CEO said that okay. You tell me what you want. Let me do it. You just tell me what you want at the end of the day, and don't disturb us again. Okay, so we will try our best to get what you want, but don't tell us what should we do. Okay, because operational part, let the CEO and the rest of the employees doing, because if you get involved, people will get confused, and which one to which tak kalah proses ke aktiviti ke is better. Memang it's totally understandable. Okay, when we talk about the political perspective, to person in power try to um get the most to influence lah the decision making by separating the job scope, and then reminded that what's your part and then what's my part. It's very crucial in the organization. Okay, so yes, I totally agree with that example between the CEO and chairman. Okay, because it happens in the real world. All right, thank you so much, both of you. Is there any other rule? Is that all? Okay, that's all. All right.